I'd like to introduce you to a governor that asked the legislature to approve the largest tax cut in Arkansas history, but I can't. I'd like to introduce you to a governor who's been a champion of education and economic development, but I can't. I'd like to introduce you to a governor of a state that is now ranked 10th with its education system nationally, and a state that added 25,000 jobs in the toughest economy of my lifetime, but I can't. I'd like to introduce you to a governor that I worked with closely to write and pass a balanced budget, and a governor that had the courage to cut that budget when revenue fell short, but I can't. Finally, I'd like to introduce you to a governor of a state that is listed by Time magazine as one of only 4 states not projected to have a budget deficit this fiscal year, but I can't. Now, all those things that I just said are true about Governor Mike Beebe. And with cutting taxes and improving education and adding jobs and balancing the budget all in this economy, I don't know why anybody would think about voting for somebody else. He's a man for whom I have the greatest personal admiration and professional respect. But I can't introduce him because Victoria told me that was her job.
So I had some experience with this process it helped immensely. And in the course of that, I spent most of those 20 years on the budget committee. And I spent most of those 20 years helping write, devise, and guide that budget. So I know something about budgets. It's helped, obviously, immensely as governor, because if our own staff or if our own DFA folks are BSing, it's easy to tell. There's not many things I hadn't seen them do. So when I tell you that I have never seen a term-limited 6-year veteran with that little experience understand and master the budget process to the point that Bruce Maloch mastered that process, it is a major feat and a major compliment. It takes a special person to do that. His colleagues know that. He is somebody that has done a wonderful job and will be greatly missed. In addition to understanding it, 2 other major attributes have to exist if you're chairing that budget. One, you have to have the courage to look at the big picture and understand the big picture and have the courage to be able to say no. Well, I can say no, but it's more effective when one of the colleagues says no, and particularly a colleague of the other House members who they respect. And he had the courage to say no when it was time to say no. He had the courage to say we don't have the money, it's not a priority, we can't get that done. And that's not an easy thing to do. In the insular world, when you're dealing with your friends and your colleagues daily, when you may need them tomorrow for something in your district, to be able to say, no, we can't do that, takes guts. Bruce has those guts. The other thing you got to have is the respect of your fellow members. And he has the respect of them. Look at them. They came here for him. And tons more would have come had they been able to come. He had, and still has, the respect of his peers and of his colleagues. We will go a long, long time before we see somebody any better in the General Assembly than Bruce Maloch. I said much the same thing about Jim Hill. Jim Hill from Nashville on the Senate side, when he quit, was comparable to Bruce Maloch on the House side as his term comes to be. Somebody that didn't have 20 years to learn it. Somebody that didn't have the red shirt here to sit on the back bench and learn from somebody else before assuming that responsibility. Somebody who had to jump into the fire with relatively little experience and lead and do the right thing. And just as Jim Hill was that person for the Senate, so too is Bruce Maloch that person for the House. I'm going to tell you something. At the opportune time, if you don't send him back to Little Rock to help the people of Arkansas, you'll be making a big mistake. We need Bruce Maloch. Lastly, let me say that the statistics that Bruce cited, and I'm very proud of them. You know, over 40 states have to have a balanced budget. That's not the answer. But we're one of 4 states, North Dakota, Montana, Alaska, and Arkansas, the only 4 states without a budget shortfall and without a projected budget shortfall. Now, they're going to eradicate their shortfall in all these other states. They're going to do it with huge cuts and huge tax increases and meeting in the middle. And we don't have to do either one of those things. We were able to do all this and still cut those taxes and talk about it. And we're able to provide the essential services and the number 1 priority of the state government, which is education. And a close second, which is economic development for the reasons that Bruce mentioned. But that is not a victory of a person. And it's not a victory of a party. It is a victory of Arkansas. The legislature deserves credit. The school teachers deserve credit. The colleges and universities deserve credit. The physicians and the lawyers and the engineers deserve credit. The business people and the farmers and the timber folks deserve credit. It is a victory of Arkansans, not a victory of Mike Beebe or Bruce Maloch or any of the other members of the General Assembly that are here. We'll take our share of the credit. We did our share of the work. But when people start talking about where Arkansas is compared to the rest of the country, when people start putting us in places where we always wanted to be at the top of the heap, not at the bottom of the heap, when people start saying Arkansas is leading this country country in the right direction, not following it anymore. It is a celebration and a victory and a tribute to our citizens. It's a victory for all Arkansas, and you should share in it. You should take pride in it. And any of these people that trash Arkansas and talk about how we're not doing it right, it's a direct insult to you. You stand up, you tell Texas and Alabama and Iowa and anybody else that wants to listen, Arkansas will lead the way. The rest of you people follow or get out of the way. We are going to take care of our country. God bless you.